Hi, welcome to the Carlisle's Chesapeake Show. Thank you for watching. Today we have Sid Collins Walker, our guest, who is going to tell us about the Chesapeake Film Festival, a great festival here in the Midshore region of the Chesapeake Bay. So Sid, welcome.
Thank you so much, Carlisle. The Chesapeake Film Festival and the Board of Directors very much appreciates you inviting me in for the interview today.
Sid, thank you. You're welcome. You are the artistic director for the Chesapeake Film Festival, and if you could tell us what that encompasses.
Right. As the artistic director of the festival, annually, I have a programming committee that consists of about 8 people. The board of directors itself is almost 20 people now for the Chesapeake Film Festival, but my committee is the programming committee. And as we were briefly discussing earlier, filmmakers have an opportunity to submit films via our website, which we will list later. And in doing so, all of the programmers participate in screening every film that's submitted. And to date, we've received about 63 films, and they range from narratives to narrative features, documentary features, shorts, environmental films, films made in Maryland, and student films. So there's quite a range of films that we see annually to come up with our programming schedule for the film festival itself.
And the festival has been going on for how long?
11 years.
Wow.
This is our 11th year.
And you've been running it, the artistic director, for how long?
Well, and actually, we have a team of executives, and I'm just one of them. I have been art director this is my 3rd year.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Real Gems movie that was shown in Oxford at the Community Center.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could tell us about the movie that I saw, where the architect of the main character, the son of the main character, is an architect in Oxford.
Yes, he is. And actually, Tim Kearns is the son of the man the film's about, who invented the intermittent windshield wiper and took his invention to major car companies, Ford to be specific in the beginning, and they essentially appropriated or stole his idea.
We won't mention any names.
We won't mention any names, but it's a tremendous film with a great tremendous character arc being told about the main character in the film, Tim's father, and how the trials that his entire family went through in fighting not only Ford but GM and other companies over the copyright infringement of this intermittent windshield wiper concept.
And Greg Kinnear was the main character in that film.
He did a fabulous job in
He
this
really
film.
did.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he really did.
Really great.
And so it was very special to watch that film, and then to have the son of this main character, who evidently he moved to he moved to the Eastern Shore,
Mm-hmm.
Settled here, and I guess followed his father's footsteps.
Yes, he did. He kind of became his father's right-hand person in all of this.
Wow.
At one point. And when his father passed away, had the farm and dealt with the estate, I believe.
Mm.
And as you pointed out, is now an architect in Oxford, has an architectural firm.
And so there were many of his family in the audience, and you were saying how emotional it is for them to watch the film yet again.
Extremely emotional for the entire family to watch the film again.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings up all of the incidences in their lives that were so traumatic, in not only losing so much but gaining in the end when he received attention, winning that final $10 million award. But it took so much. And as you pointed out, he lost his wife. His children really circled around him and showed him tremendous support.
Yes.
And Tim was the person who legally he didn't have lawyers, or his father had no lawyers.
Yes. He fought on his own.
He fought for himself.
Well, that's the sense of community that was portrayed in that film, that his children came to a pretty desolate situation and rallied with their father, and became his legal team. And I have that sense not only from the film of the community, but also then you took that further and made it a community at the Oxford Community Center.
Mm-hmm. Right. I thought one of the most amazing scenes in the film was when the con man came from Ford and tried to give him $3 million.
Oh, yeah.
And the family just stood up, and because ethically the company would not come out publicly and announce that invention was in fact Kern's invention, which was part of what Kearns would have accepted.
Yep.
Refused to do that.
Yep.
And they turned that $3 million bid from the company down. I mean, it just showed such tremendous ethical strength.
Really.
It was really very inspiring.
Now, another film that's going to be in St. Michael's, could you tell us about The Cafeteria Man?
Yes, Cafeteria Man is a story of a positive movement that shows what's possible in our nation's schools. It's about overhauling a dysfunctional nutritional system, and it's the story of what it takes and who it takes to make solutions happen. Richard Chisholm is the director, and Tony Garaci stars in the film. He will be there, as well as Dina Reese-Kilman of the Chesapeake Harvest Foundation for the round table after the film.
So, for aspiring filmmakers,
Mm-hmm.
This is a real opportunity not only to see a great film, but also to learn what the whole process is about. And you, of course, know that process because you're a producer and your husband's a writer, and you have all of that background. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
True. For Arc of Light,
Yeah.
I mean, Arc of Light really launched the Real Gems Film Festival. I was asked to do that with my independent feature, which came out actually in 2012. We began that process in 2008. I first met Anna Campbell Bliss, who's the subject of the film, when I was a teenager. I was 18, and I was introduced to her by the then director of the Utah Museum of Fine Arts. And Anna was an extremely accomplished artist. When I first visited her studio, I was bowled over by her work immediately and wanted very much to be her assistant. She had an assistant at the time, and I was going to school in Southern California, so that kind of dissolved as a potential. But 40 years later, I arched back and asked Anna if I could do a film about her life and work.
Oh.
And that was subsequent to my time as a fellow with the Whitney Museum of American Art. And she said yes. So it took us 4 years of very ardent effort in fundraising. We raised about $50,000 to do the film. And I had a tremendous creative team to produce this film about Anna. And she is, she's no longer with us, but a fascinating American artist who was a pioneering artist, architect, and designer who devoted her life to the creation of works of art that explore intersections between art, technology, science, nature, poetry, mathematics, and architecture. And her works often, her best known works are architectural site commissions of immense scale. We put her in architectural context and trace her modernist influences in the film, including the Bauhaus School of the 1920s in Germany.
Very important movement.
Yeah, and it came out in 2012 as part of the Environmental Film Festival and premiered at the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C. to a sold-out audience. And then went throughout the United States, screened at many museums throughout the United States, and ultimately went to PBS. So it had a terrific arc as a film.
Now, if you could just tell our listenership about the opportunities that they can do to go on your website and submit things that they have put together.
Yes, if you're an aspiring filmmaker or a filmmaker of merit, whatever your role in film is today, if you would like to submit a film, please visit www.chesapeakefilmfestival.com, and you will see a button that you press to submit your film. It will take you immediately to filmfreeway.com, which will give you an opportunity to review the categories that we have for film submissions this year. They include narrative features, documentary features, short documentaries, and short narratives, as well as student films and films made in Maryland. We are seeking comedies, documentaries, narratives of all kinds. We really are emphasizing high production value films in our festival this year, as well as a greater emphasis on our shorts programming. So please feel free to submit your film. We would love, our programming committee is waiting to see what you're working on, and so please visit the site and submit your work.
Thank you so much for being our guest here today, Sid. Looking forward to the next film.
Terrific. I thank you too very much, Carlisle, for taking the time and having me in.
You're welcome.